So Ian joined in 2019 and works on policy, regulatory, and enforcement issues relating to the licensed money lending industry. As part of his work, he explores interaction between technology, regulation, and the public space. The Registry of Moneylenders is a division in the Ministry of Law which regulates and licenses money lenders. The registry regulates the industry by allowing reasonable and safe access to credit from licensed money lenders, whilst protecting the interests of borrowers. The registry is currently exploring the use of technology to achieve both aims. Okay, so without further ado, over to you, Mr. Ian. Hi, Ian. Yes, we can see.
Hi, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great.
Audio is good
Thanks,
too.
thanks very much for the introduction. Yeah, as the introduction has stated, my name's Ian. I'm from the Registry of Moneylenders under the Ministry of Law. So today I'm also joined by some colleagues from MinLaw, in particular two of my colleagues from the registry as well, Jenica and King Ching. So they may be answering your questions in the question and answer box as well. So don't be surprised if you find answers flying in. Okay, so yeah, so our mission here at the registry really is to ensure safe access to credit to the public from licensed money lenders. So one question that's often comes out in public discussion is what's the difference between licensed money lenders and financial institutions. So basically um the licensed money lenders, we see them as filling a gap. Okay, so they basically serve those people who do not have the financial standing to borrow from financial institutions. So if you have applied for a bank loan or credit card before, you have noticed that the banks usually have some requirements, right? You have to, earn a certain amount of income. You need to be gainfully employed. You need to have a steady stream of income. It cannot be 1 month with income and 1 month with not. So there are people who fall through the cracks, and these are the people whom the licensed money lending industry serves. So one of the more pressing challenges that the industry is currently facing is the difficulties that consumer face in differentiating between legit licensed money lenders, or LMLs for short, as I'll call them from now on, from unlicensed money lenders or scammers. So I believe most of us have this experience, right, of receiving random text messages from unknown numbers, or calls from unknown persons, right, telling you, hey, you can take a loan with me with low interest. We are able to process your loan application very quickly. So as a public service announcement, I would just like to remind everyone to not engage with these individuals, with these parties, because they are likely to be unlicensed money lenders or scammers. So unfortunately, a good number of members of public are not aware that licensed money lenders are not allowed to advertise through all these channels. Okay, so they are not aware that they are actually communicating with a UML, or more likely than not, a scammer. So actually, one of the features that we have in place to help um, the public identify which are the legit licensed money lenders from the non-legit ones is that we actually require LMLs by law to conduct in-person, face-to-face verification of the borrowers at their place of business. So at some point in the loan application process, the borrower has to go down personally, physically, and meet the lender. And obviously, through UMLs and scammers, obviously they don't want to meet all these meet their victims lah. Okay, so yeah, but unfortunately, most members of the public don't know that this is a legal requirement, especially for first-time borrowers who obviously don't have experience borrowing, so to speak. Yeah, so just to bring you through what a borrower goes through when he applies for a loan. So basically, he'll be asked to complete a loan application form. He'll be asked things like to fill out his personal particulars, things like his IC number, his address, his particulars, his date of birth, occupation, that kind of thing. And also income information, how much do I earn annually or monthly? And he'll be also asked to submit supporting documents to support his application, things like copies of his IC or his CPF statements and pay slips to show that he's actually earning X amount of income. And also the LML also in the loan application stage, they will ask the consent from borrowers to obtain his credit report from the Moneylenders Credit Bureau. So this Moneylenders Credit Bureau is also regulated by the registry. Basically, it's a credit report that shows all the existing active loans that this particular borrower has from all licensed money lenders in Singapore at that point of time when they apply for the loan. From what I understand, the industry mostly does these two steps manually. That means the borrower has to go down physically to do the submission of this information and documents. But I also understand that some of our licensed money lenders have undergone some digitization and allow applicants to do these processes online, but not many. Most of them are still doing the manual way. So after receiving all this information, what the element would do is to do a creditworthiness assessment. So he would, based on the information, he would decide whether to grant a loan, and if so, if they are willing to grant a loan, how much. And then once that's been settled, the LML will inform the borrower to come down to their brick and mortar shop, their place of business, to again do the face-to-face verification. There is also a secondary objective here, which is that the LML will take this opportunity to explain to the borrower in a manner in which he understands the terms and conditions of the loans, so that he understands the liabilities that he's undertaking. For instance, how much interest is he paying? When's the payment monthly installment due? How much does he have to pay at each installment? So these are the things that the LMS are required to do, and they must be clear of all these terms and conditions when they explain it to the borrower. So coming back to the UMLs and scammers, what they've done is, what we've seen that they've done is to hijack this process, basically imitating the loan application process, asking their victims to send in, submit information and documents, and then they'll contact the victim and tell them, okay, we've decided to grant you the loan, but they won't present a formal contract or any documentation of the loan. Okay, instead what they'll do is, okay, we have decided to grant you this loan, but what I need you to do is to put a deposit with me, or you need to pay some admin or processing fee so that I can disperse the loan to you. And some of them have been quite ingenious in creating methods to help lend an air of legitimacy to their deception. You see, so they would, for instance, forge credit reports from the Moneylenders Credit Bureau and affix our MinLaw logo or MAS logo, and some of them even went through the trouble of creating very professional looking websites, and then they present themselves as legitimate LMLs, which they are not lah. Yeah, so as you can see, it can be quite difficult and daunting for members of the public who are not experienced in taking loans to really differentiate who are the legit LMLs from the UMLs or scammers. So our purpose, what we're interested in coming up with this challenge, what we're interested in is a technological solution that will help borrowers identify and verify legitimate LMLs online through a seamless manner. The other thing that we are looking at is how can we digitize this process of obtaining loans from LMLs in a secure and safe way without the in-person face-to-face verification. So aside from the challenge of helping to identify legit LMLs, there's also a pressure from the industry to digitize the processes. So as you know, a lot of businesses in Singapore have gone through digitization, especially during the COVID period, where face-to-face is prohibited or otherwise discouraged. So we want to come up with a safe way for borrowers to do this, okay, to obtain loan without having to go in person. But our position has always been that borrowers should borrow prudently and wisely, which means that the solutions should not encourage any excessive borrowing that would lead to over indebtedness and then financial distress. Okay, so this is our problem statement. How can we allow digital transformation of the licensed money lending sector whilst ensuring sufficient safeguards to protect persons from being exploited by criminals and unlicensed money lenders and scammers? So basically, what we're looking at in terms of solution, I group them into three aspects. First is the educational aspect. You should be proposing a method to funnel consumers to use this particular solution, but at the same time, your solution should distinguish itself um, from what the methods that the UMLs or scammers will use to so-called carry out their operations. So there's a need for you to emphasize that this solution is the only legitimate way that borrowers can obtain a loan from a licensed money lender. Okay, it should be distinctive enough that it enables the public to identify that this is the legit way of obtaining a loan. We are also looking at ways to educate uh, ways to answer inquiries from borrowers. Of borrowers may There may be some frequently asked questions. Perhaps at our registry end, we do receive these inquiries, and they are often there's a officer at the other end, replying the inquirer. But what we are hoping is that there can be some kind of AI or chatbot function that can help to answer these questions without any kind of manual input. The other aspect that we're looking at is digital verification and loan processing. So it should help borrowers to verify the legitimacy of LMLs using the registry's data, and also allow the on the LML end to help verify the borrower's identity through recognized government services like MyInfo, and allow the borrowers to grant LMLs access to their personal information. So we know that a lot of banks have done this through MyInfo. They are able to access, with permission from the borrowers, the personal information of borrowers, and they are able to do their credit worthiness checks in that way. So preferably, your solution should address this. Um, and also it should help borrowers understand the terms and conditions. As I said, one of the objectives of this face-to-face meeting is to help the borrower understand his responsibilities and his obligations. So the question is, if this is done through online, interfacing with a machine and a computer, how can we ensure that people actually understand, their liabilities and what they've signed up for? Okay, finally, we are looking at performance in terms of cost, speed, and security. Cost, because we are putting this solution out to licensed money lenders, which are businesses. So obviously, the bottom line is very important to them. So it should be done at a reasonable cost. And in terms of speed, it should be accessible. That there shouldn't be a high barrier of entry to use your solution. Okay, it should be accessible from preferably multiple devices, whether mobile or on the computer. And of course, we are concerned about security. All this personal information obviously is all very sensitive, and also the fact that people are obtaining loans. These are also sensitive information. So you should be you should consider building in a lot of safeguards in terms of data security. Okay, so what's in it for you? $30,000 Singapore dollars in prized money, access to IMDA's tech resources. I think we've covered this previously, and most importantly, to me at least, the opportunity to create a product that really benefits society. And then the criteria. I think we've gone through this also in the previous presentation. So I shall leave the time to Q&A. So if any questions, please post them and we will try to address them.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much. So the floor is open. Yes. If you have any questions, you can just click the Q&A button below and just type it in, and then we'll try our best to answer all the questions. So you don't have to actually wait for the presentation to be over. Just please feel free to just type your questions as when you have them. So let's see. Okay, there is one question from Nick Lee. Is there a standard process for KYC for the licensed money lenders? Know your customer.
Hi, this is Jenica here. You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Hi,
Yeah.
Jenica.
Okay. So hi. So KYC, there is somewhat a standard process in which you check for certain like Ian mentioned, money lenders, credit bureaus, credit report, etc. They are actually a bit different from the banks, but there are also similarities because the customer may, under certain circumstances, need to check for whether the individual is a PEP, etc. So there is still a standard process, but I think if you need the details, we can do that like subsequently when there is the actual prototype and etc. I hope I answered that question.
Yes. Let me unmute. Yes, thank you. Okay, there is a question that came in through the chat. So just a gentle reminder, please type your questions in the question and answer. So this question is from Rolling. What are the information that should we provide in the submission for your consideration? So maybe I'll answer this. So the details of the challenge brief are actually in published on the OIP. So including everything that Ian has explained today, what they're looking for, what the specific problem statement is, what the context of that problem is. So submit either in PowerPoint, PDF, your proposal or projects that you've done that are similar to this sort of solutions that they're looking for. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Rolling. Okay, any other questions? We'll just give it the last 30 seconds. Yes, there is one from Kamwei. So to all the panelists, you can also see the questions by clicking on the Q&A. So maybe I'll just read out to you guys. Should digitalizing educational platforms be considered as part of the concept of the solution?
Hi, thanks. To clarify, we are not exactly looking for educational platform. I mean, education is one of our criteria, but more of like how the solution can help us educate the public that look, if you want to take a loan from licensed money lender, this is the only way, and the rest are possibly fake and illegal, etc. So that part of education is not really like a education tool on the platform. Yeah.
I think it's to address any inquiries from members of public, because some at the registry ends occasionally we have questions. Hey, is this money lender license, or is this is X money lender license, is Y money lender legitimate? So these are questions that constantly crop up. So hopefully, as I said, what we hope to have is some kind of chatbot function that will address all this queries from members of public without manual input, because obviously, you know, there's a delay if an officer were to respond. So if they are, you know, they are keen to get a loan, they may not have the luxury of time, you see. Yeah.
Understand. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Janica. Thank you, Ian. I think I shall leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for participating in the Innovation Thursday today. Thank you to
Thank
the whole
you.
team. Thank you.